Hi guys, so the next Queen's speech is expected to include a bunch of stuff to keep Brexiteers happy. Well, of course, as we know, one aspect of Brexit is disaster capitalism, and in order for it to function better, safeguards put in place following the financial crisis need to go. It's been sold to the public as making the City of London more competitive, as Britain seeks to move further away from any links to Europe. The Chancellor Rishi Sunak has already told the Cabinet that he plans to remove EU rules for financial services and a package containing that and other things that will be put to Parliament later in the year. It's likely to sail through as Johnson still holds a massive majority in the House of Commons. So-called free market Tories have been demanding a complete overhaul of the rules of the City of London, and that must follow now that the UK has left the European Union. They want this sold to the public as a post-Brexit boost in competitiveness. One of the loudest cheerleaders for tearing up the rulebook is former Brexit Minister Lord Frost. He has been doing the rounds on right-wing media talking up how Britain needs to take advantage of its new post-Brexit freedoms. Frost is believed to have sent a letter to the Chancellor commending him on his work, that of driving towards greater deregulation of financial services in the UK. Brexiteers like Frost have been trying to convince the public that leaving the European Union was worth it, and while they've struggled to come up with any tangible benefits, it's likely they will try to sell this idea, that of the City of London being unshackled from Brussels, and that this is good for the country. Recently, the Office for Budget Responsibility estimated that Brexit would reduce the UK's GDP by 4% in the long term. The City of London and the greater financial services sector has taken a bit of a hit since the UK left the EU, mainly in share trading moving to European capitals. On the 9th of February, the Chancellor is expected to release his so-called Big Bang 2.0 of changes to how the financial services are regulated. It's expected to contain rules for the easing of capital requirements for the insurance industry. The excuse behind this is to allow firms easier access to cash in order to invest. Another idea is a change to share listing rules, which is designed to make London a more attractive place for startups eventually being listed on the stock exchange. The government is also planning to introduce legislation to allow consumers to have greater access to cash in what we see as an increasingly cashless society. In 2020, while the Brexit negotiations were taking place and Boris Johnson had focused all of his attention on fishing, services and financial ones in particular were ignored. This resulted in the City of London losing access to EU markets at the beginning of last year. Currently, the only way to fix this problem is for the EU to grant so-called equivalence to the UK. This can only happen if Brussels believes Britain will stay within its sphere in regards to regulation of financial services. There is a clear move on all fronts at the moment, be it financial services, product standards, environmental and worker protections, away from those of the EU to something else. This will mean that eventual realignment and membership of the EU will be pushed further and further away. Following the economic crisis of 2007-2008, governments bailed out banks and financial service providers. However, there were loud calls from regulators to improve legislation and protections against the crisis happening again. People like Rishi Sunak want to remove these protections and allow the banks and financial service providers to self-regulate. This has failed before, and it will fail again. But like the last time, the poor and the middle class will lose out. People pushing Brexit the hardest will be financially cushioned from any collapse. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.